Hey guys, how's everybody doing today? Hey, how you doing, sir?
Hey, Bernard, how
You
you
hear me?
making out? How you doing?
I'm doing all right. I'm
Good.
doing all right. Just had to hurry up and get back, so I said let me hurry up and try to get this out the way. Got a brother coming to cut my hair, but I said
Yeah, I
let
need
me
a
do
haircut.
this.
You see my hair. I need one myself.
Yeah,
Excuse
but
my hair. My
how's
hair's going
everything going in?
wild.
How's everything going in Philadelphia?
Oh, everything's coming along pretty good. Pretty good. Pretty good. How about there in Virginia?
It's all right, man. When I got back from Texas, man, they look like they're trying to get a new casino down here. One of them could be an Indian tribe. One of them could be something another tribe. Uh, I put it this way: it could be. I'm not really with the thing of building casinos because I already know um, how they're gonna do that. Why would you be building casinos in a pandemic or whatever? I don't know. It's kind of weird,
That's true.
but it
That's
is what
true.
it is. But as I always say, um, I don't know. I mean, look like it's just something for people to gamble and spend their money on. I'm not much of a gambler. They say it could bring some jobs to the city, but I think they say it could bring 4,500 jobs. But I mean, Best Buy is about to, I think, getting rid of 5,000 employees and other stuff. So we had a shipyard down here in Virginia, which I know you might have heard of the shipyard down in Norfolk before, maybe not. I think they're
Yeah,
getting rid
Norfolk.
of.
Yeah.
I think they're getting rid of 314 people and demoting 119 managers. So gambling just a way to get your money away, as I look at it.
As usual. As usual. As usual. Always something to take our money away.
So uh, I'm with the thing of I'm not into giving to going into a new casino, but whatever floats their boat. But I'm pretty sure at the end of the day they'll give it to the tribe from India.
I wouldn't
Probably
be
so.
surprised. Everybody gets things except
They've
for
been
us.
trying to build a lot of casinos. Yeah,
Everybody,
they've been
everybody's
trying to
blessed in
build a
this
lot of
country but us.
casinos on the East Coast and stuff. Yeah, I mean but otherwise, I think everything is going okay. As you know, I just came back from Texas.
Yes,
In a
yes.
week where they didn't have where they were giving me bottled water. A lot of water. Still not drink parasites and things like that. So,
Yeah,
but
my granddaughter
but I had a good time
lives
down
in
there.
Texas.
Shout out to um, Miss Dawson and Mr. Valentine, Mr. Phillips, Mr. McClure, who actually is in the chat and said greetings of Scott. Actually, he came from San Antonio to see me. We sat at the Turkey Leg Hut and we sat around and talked about a lot of issues. But one thing that happened was interesting. Usually, when I'm in Virginia, I see people come over and say, "Man, what y'all guys talking about? What y'all brothers talking about? Can I get in the conversation?" Nobody came to
Right.
get in that conversation that day. So that was very interesting. But it
Wow.
was like a show. The women was out there having a good time. I guess showing their skin and stuff. It was a nice 70-degree day, so I guess they really had too much time to talk about life and political stuff. But it was mighty interesting because you got gentrification going on the back behind the Turkey Leg Hut, but on the other side, it's kind of like your typical black neighborhood, boarded houses and stuff like that. So it's kind of weird. It was in the third ward of Houston. It was weird though.
Wow. Mm.
But, um,
I tell you, it was.
but
I understand
but
that you went all over the, you went over the city, all over the city, saw some interesting sights like Joel Osteen's church and
yeah, you're a bishop. Yeah, I'm about to get to that. Joel Osteen Church, biggest church I ever seen in my life, man. And I said to myself, "This is a damn shame, man. There you go. Look at this big head church right here, man. I couldn't believe it, but it was big as I don't know what. But spent a lot of money. Yeah, the cop rolled up. You're not copy, the homeless. You can lay up. You hear me? You hear me?
You're breaking up.
You hear me?
You're breaking up.
No? Damn. All right, hold tight, hold tight, hold
Okay.
tight, hold tight. Is that better?
Yo, that's much better. Yep. Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Okay, yeah. So, like I said, the brothers in the chat, Robert Phillips, yeah, Rob. As a
Hey,
matter of
Robert.
fact, he's in Texas. I know he had a little bit of problems. So, I mean, you know, like I said, he was a good brother. Thanks for coming out to see me, brother. His cash app is Lionel1. So if we could donate to, you know, a couple people in Texas who might have been hit by storms. I mean, you know, I'm just gonna give out some a few cash apps right quick because I had said this when I was doing it. So dollar sign Shaq 1981, dollar sign Sure 8106. Thank you, Dawson, for taking me around the city and showing me around. And well, wait a minute. Dollar sign NYC MIA. That's Mr. Valentine. So I don't know about McClure's Cash App, but I just, you know, wanted to shout those people out for, you know, giving me a good time and stuff. So I just had to put that out there.
Yeah, and send me
Send your Cash App as well.
message me there, text me there that information. I would like to support them with a little donation anyway. Just let them know that someone's thinking of from Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I'll
Keystone
definitely
State.
do that. Yeah, I'll definitely do that because
Please do.
yeah, because yeah, they got some of them got hit hard. Now they didn't get hit hard in San Antonio as bad as other places, but they did get hit hard. So I mean, just by the lights, but this thing was rolling blackouts, so they were actually playing around with the grid. Now look at this. I didn't see this. I can't believe Dr. Seuss considered racist now. Which brings me to thanks, Doc Boss, for that. But come to think about it, what do you think about them changing the name Mr. Potato Head?
That's ridiculous. First of all, there's always you could always make the potato a Mrs. Potato Head. Remember, there was a Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head, so you had both of them around. I mean, I don't know what the problem is, because all you did was it was you had a potato or fake potato. You could make her have hair. You could push the hair down, make it a woman or a man. So what's the problem? You had two types of potato heads, Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head. I had them both. I had a little family of potatoes. I even had little tiny potatoes. When I was little, we had those small little potatoes, and they'd be their little children. I put the same little faces on them. So I mean, people really have become so culturally, I don't know what you call this thing, that it is every little thing. I mean, we're just we're emphasizing every little thing to the point that I'm really afraid for this country. I really see us going like Judge Brown often says, we're going down the same road as Nazi Germany, or as you say, we're going down the same road as the Soviet Union, a communist China. We're going down that same road, an authoritarian government where everything is regimented. We march to the same beat. We got to say the same things. We got to think the same way. We better be careful of this. This is on the verge of becoming a dictatorship. You worried about Trump? You better worry about this. This is worse than Trump could ever be. The stuff that's happening now is worse than Trump could ever be in his 4 years. This is getting very bad, very bad.
You know what? It's mighty funny you said that, because I'm glad you said it, because that the White House is teaming with Google, Facebook, and other sites to fight what they call vaccine misinformation, or so they say, right? Okay.
Right.
So you got the White House trying to connect with social media websites to censor information. That's right out the Nazi playbook.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what it
I mean,
did.
everything we're doing. I mean, books are being scrutinized now. I mean, everything. You can't say certain things on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, anything, any social media outlet. You know, you got to talk the same talk as those people that are on CNN, MSNBC. Don't you dare talk what Fox says or quote what Jimmy Dore says or anybody that's controversial. I mean, you're liable to be your career liable. You can lose your career.
What's the guy named? Clarence Thomas?
I think you can lose
What's
your
his
life.
name? What's his name? Clarence Thomas?
Yes.
I'm not a fan of Clarence Thomas. Amazon took Clarence Thomas' books off.
I mean, this is getting crazy. This is really getting crazy. Dissenting voices now are being silenced. If you dissent against what is popular, you're going to be silenced. And I'm going to tell you the truth. I wouldn't be surprised if one day this becomes a police state.
It already is a police state.
Oh, yes. And I'm going to tell you something else going to happen. Family's going to turn on family. They're going to squeal on each other like they did during Nazi Germany. They're going to start telling on each other. You know, child turned on daddy. Daddy turned on daughter. I mean, this kind of thing to keep their own self safe. They're going to squeal on each other. I'm going to tell you another problem I see. I see this vaccine situation as becoming your job may be in jeopardy. If you're on public assistance, welfare, SSI, SSDI, anything that you are on that's government funded, you may lose all that. All this Medicare and Medicaid, you may lose all of that if you don't march to the tune and do what they tell you to do. This is becoming a very difficult, I'm going to tell you, as a Christian, I'm afraid of the Bible. The Bible's being compromised, you know?
Look at this comment.
Yes, this is the new China. You're right, Doc. You are right. This is becoming the new China. We're becoming the new China. I mean, even
Speaking of China, let's bring them up right quick. So as you see, now they're bringing up Asian American attacks. Oh my God, they're saying that black people just out here attacking Asians. I'm like, you got a better chance of Asians attacking you than them.
They attack us every day by how they deal with us in business. They attack us every day. They overcharge. They talk about us. They treat us like we're gangsters. You walk in the building, they're watching every move you make. They raise prices on you. They're very discourteous to you. They're very discourteous. I know. I think my aide went to the Chinese store and she said they were very insulting. Very insulting. What do you want? What do you want? Come on. Hurry up and make your order. What? What do you mean hurry up and make my order? If I want to look around and look at the menu and see what I want to eat, you don't rush me. You go in and serve that customer. Don't rush me. I mean, it's that kind of attitude yet they come in our neighborhoods. They've taken over our neighborhoods. Every ethnic group has taken over our neighborhoods. Most of our stores, our grocery stores, our Ma Pa stores. They no Ma Pa no more. It's Mamacita and Papi stores. Used to be called Ma Pa. There's not no Ma Pa no more. You go get something to eat. If you go to the pizza place, that's either Italian or Greek or Arabic, serving you food. You go to the Chinese store. You go to this store, that store. You're being served by everybody but ourselves, and their attitude is such that they show you blatantly they don't really like you, but they like your green money. They don't like your brown and black skin, but they love your green money. And that's the only reason why they allow you in there. If you carry too long without buying something, they tell you, you buy, you got to go. You got to go. No buy, you got to go.
Okay, he said talk on it, so I'm gonna talk on it. Let me talk on it, because when I was in Houston, he came to me and showed me in Austin, Texas, it's 7.4% black, over 30% Asian. California, 5% black, over 30% Asian. They making moves on around the country on the areas where they're gonna gentrify out black folks. Brother called in last night in Compton. There's no more Compton. They didn't change the name. I think it's called Dominion or something. So what I'm saying is that yes, that's what I'm saying. They are really now they're trying to say we're infringing on them and we are attacking them. Bill de Blasio, the mayor, said of New York, said if you raise a hand and put your hand on one of our seniors, you will suffer the consequences. Well, how about you put a hand on Cuomo for what he did in the nursing home?
Well, exactly. I mean, look, I'll never endorse violence of any sort by nobody against anybody. But when we talk about injustice, when you talk about inequality, when you talk about racism and prejudice, that goes both ways. In fact, I'm going to tell you the truth. In many instances, it's thrown at us, and if we respond, then we're the racists. Then we're the violent ones. When we respond to their insults, and when we respond to their condescending way that they treat us, in sometimes very ignorant way that many people treat us, other people's within that people of color group. I'm not talking about the white folk here now. I'm talking about the people amongst the people of color group. When we're insulted by them, no one says anything. But when we respond, then we're the ones who are at fault. We're the ones who are biased. We're the ones who are terrorists and domestic terrorists and all of that type of thing. You have to look at things like this. You have to ask the question, why are we responding this way? You have to look at the source. What's the root cause? We are by nature a very docile people, almost to a fault in my mind. Almost to a fault. We take anything from anybody for a long time. It takes you to do a lot to us before us to really respond as a group. And I'm going to tell you the truth. I really think that even this alleged violence toward Asian Americans or even Asians, period, I think is being overblown. I don't know if it is that much of a problem.
They want a law passed.
I don't know about New York. New York has a lot of problems, and this is one of the least of their problems. You got a governor who has a problem. You have a mayor of the city of New York that's a problem. So before we start throwing darts at the black community about what we're doing against people, just look at the whole daggone state. They're doing a whole lot up there in New York. That's a problem as far as I'm concerned.
Including what I showed you yesterday about selling our nursing home to private equity.
Exactly. You sent me something about Wall Street. What they're doing.
Yeah, they're tied to Wall Street, and what Cuomo did was grant these people immunity to the people who donated to him for Wall Street, while your grandma and people in your family were dying.
Exactly. And you know, Mayor Bloomberg, you know what he is.
Yeah.
I mean, come on now. I mean, one minute he's a hero, the next minute he's a villain. 1 minute he's standing for the right, next minute he's on the wrong side of the law. So I mean, come on, people. Let's stop pointing fingers and start resolving some of the major issues that this country faces right now. And right now, some of these little penny ante things are distractions in my mind. They're distractions because they'd rather deal with the penny ante than to deal with the real issues that are facing this nation. Right now, we're all still waiting for some kind of stimulus package to come through that was promised almost at the moment that this president became president, and certainly by the time those senators in Georgia were elected to the office of senator, this was promised immediately. Now we talking about March the 22nd, maybe, and March the 24th, and who's to say when we're going to get this thing? We'll probably get it. The House has passed it. Now we're getting ready to go into hellfire with the Senate. You know how they do. And they even got this. They talk about threatening to filibuster and all the rest of this. I mean, it's crazy. You'd rather help others than your own people. That's what I find a problem. We defend everybody except our own people. Heck with you all. You're the ones who elected us. You're the ones who put us in office in the first place, but you're always the last one as far as being considered to be helped. We always and black voters and black people are the least of the least. They said one time, if as number two we get so little, what do you think we are? We're right now we're number 4 in the order of people of priority in this country. We're behind the whites, we're behind the Asians, we're behind the Latinos, we're even behind the Native Americans. We're number 4, if not 5. So if you didn't get nothing as number 2, you've been fighting for hundreds of years to get something as number 2. What do you think you're gonna get now as number 4?
Hey, look.
Come on now. And look at the government. What are they concerned with? What are they concerned with? LGBT community. They're concerned with the immigrants, which are mainly Latinos. You know, they're concerned with even the Native Americans and Asians. You just said that a minute ago, how they're all up in uproars about that. Nobody's on uproars about us. Nobody's worried about us. Nobody's concerned about us. Nobody's talking about us because we are the good old folks that always vote as we always vote. And there may be a little one or two that break away, but for the most part, we're going to stay faithful and true. That's what they call us, faithful and true. We can always count on the Black community to push us through. And I'll be glad when one day we open up our eyes and not just be awoke. Because being awoke in my mind is that you still have sleep. When I'm awoke, we gotta wake up. Because being awoke means I'm finally out of sleep, but I'm still rubbing my eyes. I'm still sluggish. I still don't see things clearly. I gotta turn on the light. I gotta splash some water in my face. I gotta get up and brush my teeth. That's being awoke. Awake means I'm ready for whatever I have to face, and I look at it clearly. I see things clearly, and I act on it clearly. I don't want to be awoke. I don't want to be asleep. I don't want to be awoke. I want our community to be awake. And until we become awake, we're going to always be on the bottom of the boat as we were in 1619, on the bottom again.
Well, yes.
On the bottom, period. Never again. Never been on.
Well, I look at it like this, Brother Reed. Well, meeting people like Tim and Robert, people like that. Hey, look, the future is bright for some of us, but for a lot of us, it's not. Okay?
Right.
But in a context, I will say this. Now, like I said, I ain't gonna hold you too long, but I gotta ask you a question. Mm-hmm. What do you think about Mr. Soetoro saying that reparations are justified?
I think, like you pointed out to me earlier today when we were talking, that you have to listen to the whole thing. In 2008, he made it clear. He made it clear in 2008, and then in 2012, he made it clear again. He felt that reparations for African Americans would put division amongst in the nation, would be anti everybody else. You know, that they would rise up and people would be insulted and they wouldn't like it, and he didn't think it was fair to put our interests first. He talked about the first quote unquote Black president worrying about everybody but us, as usual, like they all do. And so this thing is just like you said before. And then I looked at it and I said, you know, Bernard is right. I'm looking at what he's talking about justified. But you keep on looking at that speech. Once again, he says what he said was counterproductive. You know, this thing is not really going to work. Nobody, the white supremacists or the white majority politicians don't want to push it. You as the president could have at least have stood up, even if it didn't happen. You could have made it be known your position as president of the United States on how you feel about reparations. You could have done that. That doesn't take anything to do. That just takes a stand. That just takes a backbone. That's what that takes. But
that's why I had to point it out to you, because a lot of people have been saying, "Oh, Barack Obama said he support reparations." I said he never said that. He just said it was justified. That's all he said. But he also said I can understand why other people didn't agree with it either.
Right.
So he still gave himself an out through the door. You leave yourself a crack out the door. I might have said it, but let me give myself a crack so I won't say it all the way.
Right. Exactly. It's justified, but and then he said. Then he went on to say, "Yeah, the Black Americans helped build this country, but it wasn't the majority of the building of this country." That's a lie. That's a lie. The very house you lived in for 8 years, the White House, was built by black folk. The house that you were in as a senator, the Capitol building, was for 4 years he was a senator. That was built by black folk. The whole city of Washington, D.C., the blueprints was made by a black man named Benjamin Banneker. So everything you ever enjoyed in your life, even in Chicago, everything you enjoyed in your life was built by black people. So the very things that you've enjoyed that lifted you up above all the people in this country, you lived in a house that was. Oh yeah, I knew you were getting confused because they call it the White House, but the White House was built by black men. That's what was built today.
I was on a show the other night with Gavin. Shout out to Gavin. Everybody subscribe to G Boot 2786 and some other brothers like Rio TV.
Hold on one second.
Well, that's okay. But everybody, how's everybody else doing on this wonderful evening? I'm just listening, and I had to get this in because this is very funny. You know, I just sitting there, just wow.
Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry, no.
Okay, you good?
Sorry.
Yeah.
I had to take that call. It was my wife.
Okay. Well, what I was gonna say about him is that I said so. Like I was on the show with Sean James and Gavin the other night, and Sean James called Barack Obama an honorary white man. I said, Sean, you are right. He is an honorary white man.
He really well. You know, I mean, people have to understand too that Barack Obama is white. I mean, don't ever forget he had a white mother. That's who he came out of the white woman's birth canal, not a black woman's birth canal. He came out of a white woman's birth canal. He was raised by his grandparents who were white. So people, you know, they act like, oh, well, I mean, I'm surprised at him. Why are you surprised? His father left him. He didn't meet his father but one time when he was 10 years old. The rest of the time, he was raised by his mother and his mother's family and an Indonesian man.
And there you go,
married as her second husband. That's the truth of the matter. So why are we so surprised that he identifies more with his whiteness and his?
Well, look at this. Look at what the Infinity 8 says. You are what your mother is by Hebrew law.
That's right. Hebrew law says that. You identify by your mother. So if your mother's a Jew, then you are a Jew. Even if your father is a Gentile. But your mother is Jewish, so therefore you are. And so it is. So you know, are we surprised that if you were raised in Hawaii, you were raised in Kansas, you were raised in Indonesia? I mean, and then people say, well, I don't understand. Well, he wasn't raised like you, my dear. How many of you all went to Harvard University? How many of you went to a private school in Hawaii? How many of you went to virtually an all-white school, but you're the only black person in it? You know, come on now.
You know that private school that you talking about? That private school you talk about, I think it's called Paluski High School. The tuition for that private school at that time when he went was $45,000 a year. And that's back then.
Come on, people.
That's back then.
Exactly. I'm really surprised. You know, I think he identified with black folk for political reasons. That's what I say.
Well, all I can tell you is,
I mean, you know, he lived in Chicago, married a black woman. There's some saying I don't know about this, but I don't know about his dating history. But many say that Michelle was the first black woman he ever dated in the years that he was dating. You know, all throughout college, and you know, most of his regular college that went to Harvard, he dated white women until he went to Harvard, and that was his second college. That wasn't his first college he went to. So his college life, his first 4 years, was dating other people besides. But why be surprised? His mother was white. His grandmother was white. So naturally, he admired white women. I mean, you know, that's what he was around. Went to school. That's what was there predominantly. Were white people. Indonesia. They were either Indonesia. He has an Indonesian sisters, and he has a African brothers and sisters. That's his
anybody. You know anybody living in Indonesia?
I don't know anybody in Indonesia.
Same here. So there you go.
I don't know anybody who ever lived in Hawaii. I don't know anybody. You know, not me. I don't know anybody living. I know there are people that lived in Hawaii that are African American, but I bet you can count them on one hand.
Well, I will say this.
During 1960s, when he was born, there were probably less black folk then than now.
Well, I'm going to say this, Bishop. I thought it was a smack in the face that he would do that. But, like, again, he always toys with you and gives you a little piece of chicken to play with. You know, that's what he does.
Well, every time he talks to us, I know when he goes to universities, here young men and women are graduating from a university. They've matriculated. Many of them came from poverty situations. They rose above all of those obstacles, and they still ended up being getting bachelor's degrees and master's degrees and doctorate degrees. And you talk to them like they're kids, like they haven't achieved anything. That one time he had a commencement at Morehouse, and he thought, well, you all make sure that you live up to this, and that the people already have graduated. They've already matriculated. They already came from their poverty and rose above all of that and have a degree in their hands. Give the people a chance. They're only 19, 20, and 21 years old. What were you doing at 19, 20, and 20 years old? You were still finding yourself, trying to instruct them and trying to berate them and trying to tell them what they should do when you're at a commencement address. You're giving a commencement address, lambasting and threatening, really condescending in how you talk to them. They've already achieved a lot. They didn't have any the past that you had. They didn't have no millionaire stepdaddies. They had daddies that were either not present in their life, and stepdaddies that probably had their own issues. Very few of them, I'm sure, were raised in a $1 million household. Very few of them had mothers and fathers that both had PhDs and were teachers and instructors and all of this. That wasn't their life. That wasn't their life, but they rose above their condition, and here they are now standing there receiving doctorate and master's and bachelor's degrees, and you want to have a nerve to try to make them feel as though they haven't achieved all that they could achieve. Get out of here. If we had the advantages you have, come on. You had great advantages. You went to Harvard. They ended up going to Howard, but they couldn't get into Harvard.
Well, watch this though. Now they trying to get into Howard and send you and have you not going to college at all. So kind of weird. Hey, look.
Weird? So we can't get to Harvard. They're gonna take over Howard, and before you know it, we go. Well, that's what they did with BET, right? That's what they did with Ebony and Jet magazine, right? That's what they did with TV One, right? That's what they did even with that Christian organization they started, and now it's all run by white folk. Motown now run by white people. It's not run by us. That's what they always do. You know.
I want to give you one more thing because I want to bring something to a head. So let me make sure I can get this because I got to bring this to your attention.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not to your attention, actually to the audience attention. And if you'd like to donate to the brother on the screen, you can donate $1 GWM67, Bishop Scott. So you can donate to him as well. Now, like I said, I'm going to thank you and Valerie Denise Jones, of course. Shout out to Valerie Denise Jones and Georgia Brown Show. Because I was kind of like, okay, I think I'm going to go ahead and do it and get this website. And then y'all can follow me on the website instead of
that'd be good. I like that.
There's a lot of people that tell me, Valerie and you.
That's what I've been talking about for a while.
We got a lot of content.
They try to encourage you to do that. Go to the next level. You're ready for the next level now. What you've been doing, just traveling, that should be a travel log. You should have a travel log that we can look into and look at as you go to. You've been to Tennessee, you've been to Chicago, now here you've been to Texas, you've been all around Virginia. I mean, you're heading out of Cleveland. We'll be in Philadelphia soon before this year ends. All these locations that you're going to and more. I'm just saying some of the ones right now that you have on your agenda already. You're not even talking about the other places you're going to end up going. Those things need to be cataloged and travelogued and put in some kind of archives where we can review that again and see it again.
I had to be driving there
What
though,
you're doing
man.
is very, very
Might have to be
important. It's
driving
very
there,
important.
man. After all them flight troubles, man, might have to be driving there, man. There you go. I ain't going through that crap again, man. But yeah, but I do thank y'all for that. And also, like I said, a lot of people gotta stick together more so than now. This thing getting really, really. Oh, before I go, what do you think about this Equality Act?
I don't see much equality in it in terms of everybody but one group. I think it's equal for those who are LGBTQ, LGBTQ, HIJK, LMNQ, and all them. I think yes, it's benefiting them, and I'm not saying they should not be benefited, but it's not. But you should name it something else. I'm very funny about what you name things, because when you talk about equality, that implies everybody. That implies everybody is being considered equally in this equation. And as I looked at it, as I read it, I don't see it as being everybody. I think it's a particular group of people that are being earmarked, that are trying to be protected, that are not trying to be, but they're being protected, they're being uplifted, they're being supported. And there's no problem with doing that. But I think when you say equality, it implies equal for everybody, that everybody is being highlighted and not just one particular group being highlighted. That's why I have a problem with wording. I'm a word man.
Man said
Let's call a spade a spade. You know, let's call it a spade a spade. It's not an equality. It's a LGBT equality bill. That's what it is. And that's what it is. And if that's what it is, that's what it is. But I have a lot of problem with the bill itself. We can talk about that.
Well, let me. Well, Tim said they need you in San Antonio. Which is interesting.
Yes,
but let me say this, and I'm gonna tell you my problem with it. First of all, I'm a man, and with that bill, I can say, hey, look, I'm coming to room with you, Lisa. Well, why are you coming in here? I feel like a woman today. I mean, what kind of crap is that, man?
Right. Well, Bernard, I have a problem with
religious liberty.
with this co-ed sports thing that men who are born men, they take a little bit of hormone pills and now they got a little breast hair there, and they may have a softer voice, and their mustache now may be gone. But a man is a man. He's biologically made up different than a woman. That's biology. Had nothing to do with what you believe in, your philosophy, and your ideology. That's the truth of the matter. Men and women are different. You can change how somebody looks, but the structure of the human being is vastly different. And when you have a man that was a man now has become a woman, compete with a born woman, he's going to have the advantage over that every single time. There's only a few sports that you can say is equal. Bowling would be no problem. I mean, bowling is bowling, you know. It's how you throw the pin and what you do. But some sports, contact sports and other sports, track and field, a man's legs are much stronger than a woman's legs. He gonna win 9 times out of 10. 9 times out of 10, unless he's no good at all, and then the woman may sneak up and beat him. But in terms of peers, and you're Olympic man and I'm an Olympic woman, and now you dressing or you have now become a woman, all that bone structure, all those muscles, they do not disappear. And don't let nobody fool you. They do not disappear. You're still a man structurally. You're still a man in how you're built. Even if you look like a woman with long hair and with bosoms and all that, your structure, your natural structure. Yes, Gavin. Yeah, good afternoon. You're absolutely right. Wrestling would be a problem. Boxing for sure. That's right. A woman going to box with a. Can you imagine Ali's daughter, Layla Ali, fighting Merriweather? Now, both of them in their own independent fields, they're both the greatest out there today. But can you imagine they meet head to head? That he's gonna fight now her, and she's gonna be the best woman. But he's gonna be he can even take somebody less than Merriweather. Not even as good as Merriweather. Name somebody else who maybe is even over the hill. I would say Tyson could beat her. And Tyson is a man 50 years old now. He still could probably one good hit and she'd be knocked out.
Let me say something. Well, I want to give a shout out to Gavin for the wonderful show we did the other night. So everybody, you know, please subscribe to GVU 2786 and also donate to $ Gavin Squad Esquire. He always brings interesting shows and
He always
content.
does. He always does.
And he sounds like a wonderful attorney. Actually, he is. Because me and him, we always have interesting conversations. So thank you, Gavin,
Always.
for that. Now we'll say this. I look at more of a tramp on your religious liberty or your moral liberty with this Equality Act. That's why I really would not agree with it. And then, but you got to think about who the Secretary of Health is. I got one more thing to say here. Rand Paul had it out and told him I can't vote for you on that, confirming it. Now, a lot of people are saying, dang, we got a stimulus check before. We got, it took you 33 days to bomb Syria before you got a stimulus check.
Yep. We had a bogus impeachment trial again.
Well, we're going back to the good old days.
They already knew it wasn't going to go. They already knew they couldn't get 2/3 vote. They knew it, and they still went ahead with it anyway. That happened immediately. The man wasn't even in office 2 days before that started moving ahead. Wasn't even in office 2 days before they started doing that. We so I don't know what is wrong. I don't know what is wrong that we can do things we want to do. That, like you say, the Syria thing that happened overnight. We didn't know it even happened. It happened and gone, and they threw, and they 20-some people dead, and nobody, even Congress is very mad about that. Even the Democrats in Congress are very angry about that. One congressman said this. He said that it should be equal. If we lambasted Trump for doing that, we're going in there and killing those generals and that leader of the country that he was responsible for, those known terrorists, and they lambasted him and ready to impeach him, and how dare he do that without our consent? And I hear you got this man in 36 days, not even a month and 6 days, you might well say, a month and a week in office, already attacking a nation. I see us being in war before this year's end. Probably before the summer comes.
Well, when you get Biden and the Obamas and the Clintons around and back together again, you're getting a war.
And look at the Secretary of Defense, a former general in the very area that they're having the war in the Middle East. He was in charge. He was the commander of the Middle East, known to be a war hawk. Now he's your Secretary of Defense. That's why they say the Secretary of Defense should not be a military man, should not have a military background. He was approved because they had a waiver. You have to waive that law in favor of him. I think he should not have been. I know he's a black man, and kumbaya, kumbaya. But you have to look at the man's record. That man is a war hawk. And so is Biden. Look at Biden's record. Since he's been in the Senate, every war, and including when he was vice president, he agreed to, approve, and sanction every war. His name is on the war documents, approving Iraq all the way through Afghanistan, all the way through Libya. His name's on the documents that he sanctioned it, he approved it, he supported it, and he voted in favor of those wars. So are you surprised that within a month of his being president, now that he is the president, commander-in-chief, with a Secretary of Defense that was a 4-star general, that we would not get into some kind of skirmish, some kind of war? We're going to be in a whole lot of wars before it's all over. I look at us being in Venezuela before this thing's over. I see us, it's going to be a mess. It's going to be a mess. I'm predicting.
I'm going to say this, Bishop. Well, yeah, and just get ready for it. Hey, look, this thing will go by with lightning speed. But I thank you for always coming on and showing your support, and thank you for supporting me. Any last words, bro?
Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for having me, Bernard.
Oh man, it's always a pleasure. Donate to him. It's Cash App, as I said. $ G William Scott 67. And thanks, Gavin, for tuning in once again. Gavin, I'll see you later tonight. You have a nice day.
Okay. Have a good one.
You too, brother.